let's move on to what else we've been watching in the last month, maybe a little less than a month. Amanda, I think we got to let you go in a moment, but do you want to real quick say anything about Sharp Corner before you go?
Yeah, sure. So Sharp Corner was a movie that premiered at TIFF. I missed it there, but Elevation recently flew me out for the Canadian premiere. And it's fun. I think you have to approach it as a comedy. I feel like some people aren't approaching it as the comedy that it is. He has some very real, like, Tim Robinson vibes to him, because it's basically like they move into a new house and these accidents keep happening right outside because of a sharp corner. There's a sharp turn in the road and he starts becoming obsessed with the accidents and he only wants to talk about them. And there's just like this whole dinner scene that feels so much like Tim Robinson, where he's just like, yeah, it's pretty brutal. And it's like, you have a story. And it's just funny. And then his wife is Kobe Smulders from How I Met Your Mother. She played Robin. So you have all these different like straight playing characters while this guy is just like progressively losing his mind. I think I could probably use some of the runtime a little bit better, but it was really interesting, actually.
Worth checking out for the I Think You Should Leave fans.
I think so. Again, cool. It's not as absurd as that, but it's like, if you understand that that's what Ben Foster is going for, if he's going for this wacky comedic role.
Interesting.
Go with that. And it was filmed in Nova Scotia, so got to give the East Coast Canadian love. So
shout out Canada.
Yeah, and they built the house for it. They had to build the house because they found the corner and there was no house there, so they had to build the house for it. Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right, Amanda, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll get more from you on the podcast. What should the Padawan look forward to on the channel in the next couple of weeks?
Oh my God, we got another Simple Favor video, which will probably, that's coming out. Maybe Lilo and Stitch. We'll see.
I'm fully on board with Lilo and Stitch.
Me too. At this point, I'm on board. It does look delightful. Just lots of stuff coming up. A lot of big releases, stuff that I've already talked about in some festival wrap-up videos. But hopefully some longer reviews out there. And check out Friendship if it's playing where you live.
Friendship. Great call. Friendship. All right. Thanks, Amanda. We'll catch more from you soon.
See you.
Peace out. Bye. Art, shall we run through the rest of the month?
Let's do it.
All right. Vulcanizadora
happiest film of the year.
Yeah, this is a movie that you caught last year and have just been sending me warnings about from my guy, Joel Petrikis. He is the co-star here. He co-stars with Joshua Burge, who was also the star of what I think is probably Joel Petrikis' best movie, Buzzard, where he plays a really kind of scary sort of outsider on a bit of a small-time crime spree. Vulcanizadora, on the other hand, is a really interesting movie involving two friends who decide to take a trip together before embarking on a pretty disturbing pact, and basically what psychologically develops from this pact they go on. And it is a dark movie. It is kind of unexpectedly funny, a little subversive in points, but also just a really interesting document of being tortured by your mind. I found it to be pretty unsettling, and it stuck with me. And I think it stuck with you as well, right?
Easily. I think you could pick up on what the movie's putting down very early on, but it is a little bit of a tightrope to get you. It's taking its time. It wants you to put the pieces together. Once you get to that sequence that the movie's really, showcasing, it was one of the most tense things I saw from the festival from last year. Now that it's out, I can't even imagine being in a packed theater because I got to see it as a part of a festival. With a public audience, this would be completely different. I was sickened. I was almost damn near traumatized. But it's one of those films where when you rewatch it or you pay attention to the clues, the characters are so fully realized that it almost makes you unsettled. How do you get to the headspace to think like these characters would in their cowardice, in their. I'm thinking of one character in particular. There's just so much in here that just feels so fully realized from people who are at their end. And I think that the way that it's shot makes it even more unsettling. The use of, it's a pretty small cast, but when they start expanding it a little bit more in terms of where the story takes place, I thought it worked effectively well. I think it's just full of dread.
Mm-hmm.
Dread from external forces, but the even bigger dread is the dread from internal forces and the stuff that these
100%.
characters are going through inside, and you just see it all on screen. Yeah, director to look out for, bro. You've been mentioning this guy. Unbelievable work here. Very good stuff.
You went 4 stars on it. I think I might go that or 3.5, but it probably more of a 4-star for me too. Joel Petrakis is a really interesting filmmaker to keep on your radar, but I do want to give an extra shout out to Joshua Burge, who I found to be so transfixing in the lead role of this film. He's just got these like sunken, tired eyes that just say so much about his disposition. I found him really interesting.
Joel's the other guy with the hat.
Yeah.
Real damn. He looks so much different as a director, bro. I don't know what it is.
That big beard is a big change
beard,
to your look, right?
But it's also like his demeanor in all the other pictures is completely different than the dude you see in this movie.
He seems so serious, but he's such a goof in the movie.
Yeah. Wow. Good on him. Yep. No, crazy movie. Did you guys rewatch this twice?
No, I just watched it. I hadn't seen it until this week.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought Caitlin had posted it twice. I was like, oh, this hit. Oh, this smacked.
No, she accidentally clicked the rewatch. I know. I saw what happened there. Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, bro. I was like, I don't know if I'd run this one back immediately. This is a tense one, and if you can see it in limited release, do so. But I also would give you the warning, catch it at home if you can. But do not miss it.
Yeah.
If you're ready.
And then another shout out for Buzzard, which is so good.
Shall Buzzard.
I didn't get to catch up with The Ugly Stepsister, but I know you saw this one at Sundance, and now it is available to watch on Shudder.
Yeah, give it again the thumbs up. I think it would have been worth catching it in a theater for the sound design, but it's definitely one to catch in Shudder so that you can rewind a lot of the gore-fested scenes that they've got in here. They go all out with it. We got the new Philippou that's coming out, and those brothers were able to, I think, knock it out of the park again. This is a movie up there.
I didn't add that to my rundown. You got to tell us.
I got it as a recommendation.
Okay, great.
But The Ugly Stepsister, now that it's out on Shudder, I think is worth the watch. I think the way that it adapts the story is very interesting, and especially with what the director was bringing into it, which is that we all think we're Cinderella when in reality, many of us are the Ugly Stepsister. So great take on the story, and it lives up to the horror side of it. Ugly Stepsister, check it out.
Awesome. And one more pick from the movies that were released in the last month. Summer of '69, a movie that we previewed after its world premiere at South by Southwest, the directorial debut from very funny actress Jillian Bell. Here she directs Chloe Finneman and Sam Morales in a film about losing your virginity and finding sexual freedom and all sorts of funny antics. I think we thought this one was pretty charming at South by.
We thought it was going to be bigger. Like, we found out getting closer to it that it was going to be a Hulu release, and you and I already know Hulu will... We're thankful that it's out there, but, like, some theatrical push would always be nice. And I do think it plays better at home than it might at a theater, but, you know, when you're making a directorial debut, and especially with Chloe, right? Finneman?
Yes, Finneman, yeah.
I kind of like her as one of the big the stars coming out of SNL. Personally, I've found her choices and things that she's taken to be more interesting than the rest of the cast, and this is a pretty pivotal role. She is a co-lead in here. It's a cringy comedy. It's awkward. There are many moments where you could tell that it's Jillian Bell in the role of these characters, but it's fun. I think it's worth watching, especially if it's on Hulu.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit half realized in certain places. Like it's sort of a movie about sexual liberation. It's sort of a movie about this girl's anxiety causing her to go into her head and have fantasies. And it doesn't ever fully sort of do one of them, but all of it is reasonably funny and charming. Yeah. So
it's also J.
a
Cole
pretty
song.
Good time.
It's a good J. Cole song turned into a movie.
I think I saw some Intercuties caught up with this one. Mark enjoyed it as well. So glad that people took that recommendation.
Not better than Crush, bro. Not better than Crush. Josh asking.
Oh, yeah?
Crush is a better version.
Okay, so maybe check out Crush first if you haven't seen that.
But it may be equal to a lot of people. So it's actually the best thing that if you liked one, definitely check out the other.
Nice. A couple movies that aren't out in theaters yet, but were out in the theaters of Chicago recently because Chicago Critics Film Festival just wrapped up and brings a lot of the exciting films from Sundance and from South by and from other places to art city of Chicago. There's a couple movies that you were able to catch up with at this year's festival that I know you're excited to talk about as well.
Yeah. Sheesh, I was like, what movies are these? This is a mixture of everything that's been out there. I don't even know what this is. It's like Babes, Baltimorons, and then Biba from like a couple years ago. What is happening,
It's like everything
bro?
in the history of the Chicago Critics Fest for some reason.
Dear Lord. Going through some of the ones because they always do a really great selection of bringing in movies that played at other festivals, and that way you don't have to leave your own home place to catch these. They do the work for you, which I appreciate. And one of the big ones that they had coming out of this was Sorry Baby, which I thought was pretty good. I think that ended up winning the audience award, if I'm not mistaken. They also had Friendship, which I think was the first one to sell out. But looking at some of the other ones, I want to be able to pull up the list here. Out of the movies that they released, where is their stuff, dude? Here we go.
Maybe use an upgrade to the website.
Yeah, they were playing classics like Lurker. I'm calling it a classic now. It's not even out, right?
Yeah,
Lurker,
future classic.
They had Twinless there with Dylan O'Brien. Let's see, what else did they have?
And I think I saw they brought the writer-director co-star as well. Didn't they?
Yeah, for Twinless, they had that. I think she was there for Sorry Baby as well. They were playing April, that I said was very daunting. I saw a whole crew when I was watching Bring Her Back.
Mm-hmm.
Try to book it to Obex. So that was another one we caught at Sundance as well. Zodiac Killer Project, which was interesting. A Little Prayer Dude from years ago at Sundance, which was pretty good. And Desert Road, same year as well, a couple years ago. One of my personal favorites, Lost Out in the Wilderness type movie, starring your girl from Forsyth, Kristen Forsyth.
Yeah, Kristen Forsyth, who was in How to Blow Up a Pipeline, as well as some other stuff.
Yeah, Looking for Alaska. Actress. I really liked this movie, so it was very interesting to see another one that was very similar to it. The two new ones that I was able to catch, starting with It Ends, were movies that are really about the depressing elements and how you can find a silver lining on the other side, but they don't sugarcoat it for you. They tell you this is what it is. And this is a movie that has nothing out there. You and I both missed this at South by. Amanda was able to catch it. And all we knew was that these kids get on the road. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. I don't know how much more they're going to release about this, but I'm not kidding. It really is that. This may be a movie that's going to get on some people's nerves. Like, hey, where else are we going with this? But the interesting thing is that it just depends on how it gets marketed to you. And that's the big thing he was talking about. It is a horror movie, existential thing. These guys, this group of four just got out of college. They're driving. Is it a metaphor for life? What could this? Is it like I don't know if you've seen From yet, but it's like, are they in a completely different alternate universe where the road just doesn't end? There's things that happens when they brake and they pull to the side of the road. Their bodies and what they're going through are there's a lore behind the story, but really it's the metaphor, and it's the other side of, if you're not looking for a horror movie, surprisingly, this is a hangout movie. The way they play with aspect ratios kind of shifts in and out of what movie you're in terms of it being about this group of friends that are now stuck hanging out in the car, or if you're in there for the horror. And the way they balance it, I was with it. There was a guy next to me who I thought was going to be checked out. And then there's a scene, I don't know what it did for him and I, where it's like it puts a gun to you and it says, this movie's about you, bucko. And it's like, okay, ooh, I see you. All right. And it's depressingly feel good. Just like the next movie that I'm going to talk about. But if this one comes out, this is coming from a guy who really put it all on the line. Amanda kind of mentioned it when we were covering it at South by, that the dude really put it all on the line in terms of playing virtual poker with people to get funding, making memes for a living, working for like high profile realtors. He did the grind for years, shot the movie, got more funding, reshot the movie to fix it. That actress was called in last minute because the original one decided to leave. You could tell it's a film where they're all different elements of his psyche, and I think that's what's going to resonate with a lot of people. It Ends, very low budget, very good. Very interested to see how this does and what his next project is going to be. I found the guy's Reddit post, the director.
Oh, yeah?
where he was reaching out to people. He made it off of a YouTube video that got 100K and that got him funding. But this dude has Reddit posts where he's talking about his filming journey. So surreal to read it and to see where the movie is now. Alex,
that's awesome.
Hey, you're on the watch list over here on Intercut. Great movie. Got to dab him up at the music box. Really cool guy.
Very cool.
But this movie, you saw it with me, or you saw it, so you can talk about it with me. The Balta freaking morons, bro.
Yeah.
Look, it's 4 stars easily. Look, you come watch this. It is a 4-star movie. And I woke up the next day after sitting with it, and I gave it that extra half star. Alina was even trying to get me on a 5. I was like, oh, hold on, take it easy. But there it is. You take his story, you take what it's about, you take both of these characters just finding themselves in this point in their life where they don't know to move on. If I can explain it without spoilers, and you let me know this, a guy attempts something at the beginning of the movie that leads to a very, I want to say depressing Christmas, but one where they're at a crossroads. Him and a dentist who he has to see for an emergency, as you can see right there in the cover.
Yes.
So they accidentally end up spending Christmas Day together. That is the pitch to the movie. And it is freaking wonderful. This is those movies where they say it's warm, it's cozy. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's all that and a glass of milk with warm cookies.
100%. It is a movie that is extremely sweet, but never, in my eyes, dips over into the saccharine. It is a movie that is quite hilarious, but also
really
has plenty of time for emotionality and not an inauthentic emotionality. Because when this movie gets to a place of deep connection between its characters, it's pretty profound and heartfelt. I'm right with you. I was like on the fence about a 4-star, and I'm landing on 4.5 and a heart. I was completely won over by the Baltimorons. It is such a delight. It's one of those movies where like I had no idea who Michael Strassner was before I started it, and now I would die for him. I will fight you for this guy. He just seems like such a sweetheart. Has this sort of easy repartee to him as a means of sort of smoothing over uncomfortable situations. But it's so hilarious. I had pitched it to you when you didn't see it back at South by as like, what if Between the Temples starred Maddie Matheson instead of Jason Schwartzman? Do you feel that at all? Am I off base?
No. It's right on there. And the craziest part is he's more likable. Maybe it's because of season 3. He's even more likable, bro. There's just something. He's got this smile that he does. The one like that, I was like, you can get away with murder with that thing, bro. Chill. Yeah. He is such a likable dude, and the whole behind the scenes on how this even got made and how this really is one of those where he's wearing it on his sleeve. The other one is a metaphor for It Ends. He didn't get stuck in the road existentially. This guy is a stand-up comedian. This is a guy who went through the opening shots of this movie. Bro, we got to talk spoilers after this a little bit because obviously when we get to it, when it's out, the way that it is his life in the film and him being the pratfall guy for his improv in real life and what the damn pratfall is in this movie. What? Nah, bro, that's when it cleared the 4.5 for me. I'm like, yo, what a way to get away with it. It says uncomfortable jokes. It goes to places. Jay, stop acting. I'm sorry. You're a great actor. I think you're actually better than your brother. Stop immediately, bro. 10 years? Nah, get back to work. This man said they shot in Baltimore, in that street. And he said that Baltimore pays for the lights of that entire strip where they got it from October till I think a month after for it to be all Christmas lit. And he said that the permit they got was, I think, $45 for the entire shoot. And they do these things where, because there's like people obviously on the road, they didn't close it down. They just had a permit to film. You can see, no one's going to see this. Only I would see this. Like people in the background kind of like looking at them filming. So then he pushes in on the characters. Bro, some of the best filming comes when you're at a wit's end and you don't know what else to do. You don't want the other people getting in the way. And there was kids who were following them. They said in the Q&A. That's why they push in. And damn me if that's not what people are going to be studying in terms of like, and you can see he pushed in here for the effect of, he pushed in because the kids were going to be in the frame, and it makes for one hell of a framing sequence as well. Beautiful movie. I don't even know what my favorite scene is. They were talking about the improv set piece.
Yeah,
I like the compound scene. You mentioned the football quarterback a moment.
Yeah, dude. There's so many good moments, and it is just such a like heartwarming adventure. They've described the movie as a mix of Harold and Maude meets Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, because you get that sort of May December tragicomic friendship, maybe romance thing, but then the Plane, Trains, and Automobiles aspect comes in because it is this like inadvertent road trip with people who have somewhat discordant personalities that find a way to get closer. I don't know. It is just so delightful. It's hard to even describe just how endearing this whole thing is.
The simplicity of it's what got me. IMDb agrees with us thoroughly. I wasn't expecting it. I'll give it that. And it's the charm, the heart, but really the message in the story. We haven't even talked about Liz Larson. Bro, I was looking up there. I was like, yo, that Edie Falco? No. Let me put some respect on this woman's name. This actress, like, it's such a perfect two-hander between these two and what they're both going through. Just like, even if you don't go deeper to it, just the scene-by-scene moments that they share in the different places they go. And, you know, like her, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but her place, I don't want to say of refuge, but the place she needs to confront and the place he needs to confront. It's such a great script that feels like it's off the cuff, but it's not. I don't even know. Hey, yes, and that's what this movie is thoroughly. Really good stuff.
I'm not somebody who often goes up and tries to say hi to the filmmakers after a movie, but I just felt so good and so, you know, heartwarmed by this film that I gave Michael a big handshake after the movie and just told him how meaningful it was. So it's certainly one to keep on your radar. I believe IFC Films picked it up, so it has distribution.
Great.
And hopefully we'll see it not too long from now.
Winter.
Like, Christmas movie would be perfect.
Yeah, a little bit earlier if you wanted, but just not in the summer. Not in the summer.
Yeah, it's not a summer movie.
But still watch it in the summer if you have to. Just watch it. No, fantastic movie, dude. Definitely stand up there. Not a bad twofer out of the Chicago Critics Film Festival. So definitely keep that on your radar if you're from Chicago, if you're coming through the city. They do a great job of collecting a lot of the films that we shot out here on Intercut as well, from Sundance, South by, a bunch of different places. And they played here in our hometown, even bringing some filmmakers, which is always cool to see.